The south node and the north node are now at the 22nd degree. So the south node in Scorpio 22 is the image of the hunter going out for ducks. The animal nature cannot be tamed, so needs to be accommodated. Assimilation of primitive instincts. There is the need to find a way to channel our baser instincts so that no harm is done to other individuals. The aggressive survival instinct in man cannot easily be ditched. Indeed, perhaps it should not even be, if it could be. In an organism as complex as a human being, who can say what would result from denying a powerful instinctual drive? Denied passions do not stay long hidden. So we're discussing accommodation of instinctual drives, the self-determination arising from the specificity of desire and unremitting fortitude. In the north node, Taurus 22 is the white dove over troubled waters. Nature produces symbolic messages for those who can read the signs. By contrast to books, there are sometimes signs. These arise out of larger life rhythms and are more indicative of the greater picture. The cultural vibration is contrasted to the individual. So we are better advised to seek guidance from the signs all around us than simply consulting our own wisdom. Reading the mysterious symbols in nature, the mind is shaped and strengthened through guidance. Now, when we're discussing the axis of the nodes, we're looking for clues about the journey that we're all taking from having been incarnated into this world of form and therefore truth. What we have inside us truthfully is represented in the circumstances externally in our lives. We can conceptualize all we like, but actually what we get is what's real. And the hunter is intending to kill, goes out with a gun and enjoys that, enjoys taking a life. And of course this is not considered civilized, it's not considered spiritual. And yet that instinct is quite a recent one in our history. Even if we're talking about tens of thousands of years, it's been not very long in evolutionary terms since we had to kill or die. So this instinct within some people strong, within other people not so strong, is nevertheless a part of who we are. And it does come out in an emergency. You know, we might think that we're quite civilized, and that's because we've got food on the table. But when that's threatened, when our life is threatened as well, we find these animal instincts again, and we find that they're very strong. They can't be denied. We need to find some way of assimilating them. In other words, being honest about the truth that we have them, and finding a place for that within us. The hint here is that the opposition of the nodes, the opposition of the two Sabian symbols, are linked. So in Scorpio 22, the hunter setting out for ducks sets the theme, and in Taurus 22, the resultant force that comes out of this. And we have the white dove over troubled waters. Now the white dove is known in Sufism as the metaphor, the symbol for the Holy Spirit. Very profound level of sacredness, commitment to non-violence as well, presumably. So there's a huge contrast here. It's the opposing thing. So how is it that when we assimilate our baser instincts, we then can understand something more of the sacredness, the soul's journey. And the North Node indicates the direction of the soul. So this seems to make a lot of sense. Well, it's not easy to explain unless you've experienced it. Many of us have experienced the presence of the Holy Spirit and known it to be something special, even though perhaps for the first time we didn't know what it was. It was pretty obvious by experiencing it what it must be. And that level of intimate connectedness with our feelings, when we have the urge to kill, then we deal with that somehow or other. When we have the awareness of Holy Spirit, we then can accept that. I doubt very much if somebody who denies their animal passions can really know their highest spiritual station. I think these polarities have to embrace each other. And we're reminded of the times of the hunter-gatherers that we perhaps know about, where the Native American would hunt because they needed to eat. And before they would eat the animals that they had killed, they would pray. They would offer thanks to Great Spirit. In other words, they introduced sacredness into the act of killing. And I think we have the opposite principle also to consider, interestingly, that sacredness in itself, as, shall we say, a practice or a discipline or an obedience, lacks something if it's not passionate. There should be, I feel, the passion that goes into hunting applied to prayer. And if you carry out these prayerful practices without passion, in Sufism they call that an empty practice. There's nothing there, you don't get anything from it. Repeating words without meaning what you say is just a waste of time. You're not doing it. So I think what we have here is the passionate image of the white dove. And the dove is actually quite a passionate creature. It is a bit violent. And the assimilation of that, the putting a container around the violence of the dove to turn it into the image of a Holy Spirit, is very reminiscent of the 22 Scorpio symbol, isn't it? You know, we're containing passion, wrapping something around it. In the first case, hunting when it's in hunting season and not in the city. In the second case, turning an animal into a symbol of something of the highest dimension. So, with the nodes in this sign of the North Node being in Taurus, I think what we're doing is coming to terms with baser instincts within us and finding that energy that goes along with that and putting that into prayer. Pray passionately. Carry out your rituals of magic and sacredness with that sense of aliveness and intentionality and wholeness of being. Pray properly, you know. If you want it to work, I think it might be as simple as that.